Welcome back to Mr. Magazine, the channel where we peel back the glossy layers of celebrity life to reveal the human stories beneath. If you value thoughtful conversation and deep, feeling-driven reporting, please press subscribe, click join to support our work, and give this video a thumbs up so more people can hear what we have to say. Today's story belongs to Hazal Kaya, not the tabloid caricature, but the woman whose measured words have become a mirror for an audience that desperately needs to face itself. When a public figure speaks not to reprimand but to illuminate, the effect can be seismic. Such was the case with Hazal Kaya's recent declaration. She did not stage a theatrical outburst, nor did she reach for sensational phrases. Instead, with a composure that cut through cacophony, she summarized a bruising cultural truth in a phrase that sounded at once simple and devastatingly comprehensive: they are taking out their anger on us. To hear that construction from someone who has been scrutinized since her earliest roles is to hear not a complaint but an accusation against a collective habit, the habit of locating our private frustrations in women who stand in the light. Hazal's remark carries an entire biography of experience. It is the condensation of years of misinterpretation in which every candid photograph, every professional smile, every social post has been parsed into gossip or judgment. Even now, as a married woman and a mother, she remains subject to a cultural reflex that seeks to reduce her present to the contours of someone else's narrative: the child, the spouse, the ex. These roles are dangled like labels over her autonomy. Her counsel, unusually candid for a celebrity of her standing, was not a call to fight but a suggestion toward inward work: do not take it personally, and consider therapy. That recommendation, offered with the unflashy dignity of someone who has seen the toll of public life from the inside, reads like an invitation to conversion, from reflexive accusation to reflective attention. It is crucial to underscore why such a stance resonates. Hazal's trajectory from luminous ingenue in landmark series to a mature artist and mother has been public property for decades, and the media's appetite for narrative continuity has often worked against her autonomy. When she references anger being projected onto women, she is naming a phenomenon that extends beyond her own experience. Think of the countless moments when a female performer's private life is dragged into discussions meant to measure professional merit. Vacation snapshots become evidence of moral decline, friendships invite insinuations, marital status serves as the subtext in critiques of performance. Male colleagues may face critique, certainly, but rarely with the same invasive tenor that pervades the discourse around women. That is the nuance Hazal distills when she chooses the word anger rather than the softer hate, a choice that highlights projection and misdirection more than mere antipathy. This approach drew empathy because it was not performative. In the aftermath of her statement, the comment section swelled with personal testimonies, women writing that they had experienced similar erasures, mothers describing the fatigue of being both celebrated and scrutinized, younger performers confessing the crushing anxiety of living under a microscope. The pattern that emerged from these responses was not simply sympathy but solidarity. Hazal's words functioned as a linguistic key, unlocking a conversation that many felt but had not yet named publicly. When a star of her magnitude articulates a pervasive social injury with clarity and calm, it legitimizes the private pains that otherwise drift, anonymous and ungathered, through digital space. Yet, as always, the media machinery sought the sensational. Old clips were resurrected, romantic subtexts were teased into headlines, and an entirely separate conversation, one that served to divert attention rather than illuminate it, swarmed the margins of the discourse. References to her past on-screen pairings with Çağatay Ulusoy were resurrected not to explore professional chemistry or acting craft, but to insinuate lingering emotional allegiances. Tabloid-friendly readings substituted for inquiry into the cultural mechanism Hazal had actually described. In response, she set a boundary with characteristic clarity: I'm married, I have a child, and I live a quiet family life, yet people insist on pairing my name with former co-stars. This is unfair and disrespectful. That sentence operates on multiple levels, as a personal corrective to rumor, as a professional reorientation towards the present, and as a public refusal to serve as the repository for other people's fantasies. There is a distinct dignity in refusing to be reduced to a past role. Hazal's refusal is not a denial of history but rather a reassertion of agency. She acknowledges the past and the career that sculpted her public image, but she insists on the primacy of the present and the work she intends to continue. For many viewers, that reorientation felt like permission to reframe how they see public women, not as perpetual characters in an unfinished melodrama, but as people whose present choices and ongoing projects warrant the attention. In saying, "Let us speak of the now, not the then," she extended a challenge to the audience to recalibrate their curiosity, to invest their attention in creation rather than conjecture. Hazal's composure did something else. It illuminated the possibility that strength need not be loud. There is a long-standing cultural assumption that to resist injustice one must escalate, that the only legitimate responses are amplified and performative. Yet Hazal modeled a contrary ethic, the notion that firm boundaries, articulated in quiet, can be profoundly destabilizing to the machinery that profits off scandal. When she suggested therapy, and when she appealed to empathy rather than indictment, she signaled an alternative politics of celebrity, an orientation toward repair, not retribution. If we are to take anything from Hazal's testimony, it might be this: public discourse is an ecosystem in which cruelty and care are in constant competition, and the imbalances of power within that ecosystem demand intentional correction. Hazal's words invite that correction. They demand that we interrogate why certain people become the preferred vessels for societal resentment, why women in public spaces are made to carry emotional loads that have nothing to do with their conduct, and how we, as consumers of media, as participants in online cultures, and as citizens with capacity for empathy, might redirect that energy toward accountability, repair, and growth. Now, as we process her statement and its ripples, let us be explicit. Hazal did not ask for absolution for those who mistreat, she asked for introspection from those who would lash out. She did not plead for silence from critics who offer reasoned assessment, she asked only that vitriol be recognized, named, and refused. In doing so, she reclaimed the narrative on her own terms. She did not renounce her past roles nor did she beg for pity, she simply insisted on the dignity of her present identity. We want to hear from you, the pulse of Mr. Magazine. Did Hazal Kaya's words strike you as a necessary act of courage, or as an insufficient remedy for a wider pattern of social mistreatment? Which element of her message felt most urgent or resonant for your own experience? And importantly for our next episodes, which Turkish celebrities would you like us to examine with the same care and rigor? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. We read every submission and many of your suggestions shape our upcoming features. If this piece spoke to you, please do us a favor, hit like, push subscribe, and consider clicking join to unlock exclusive content and help sustain investigative, humane coverage of stories that matter. Share this video with someone who needs to hear Hazal's message, that compassion toward one another is not a weakness but the work that holds public life together. From the desk of Mr. Magazine, thank you for listening. Until next time, may we all be kinder with our tongues and more generous with our attention.